Welcome back to the Golden Spoon.
Love that we're recording
are we?
on YouTube. Yeah.
Sorry.
Unique New York.
Unique New York. Flabbergasted.
Gassed flabbered.
Gas flabbered.
See, this is some of the stuff that they don't get. The normal, everybody who listens doesn't get. Like, this is why you need to subscribe to Patreon. I'm just gonna go ahead and put this in the YouTube video. You need to subscribe to Patreon. Like, go do it, because you get more of this
you
stuff.
Get a little glimpse of heaven.
The stairway to heaven, not actual.
Maybe.
Who knows?
Who knows?
Hey, welcome back to the Golden Spoon Podcast. I'm McCall.
I'm Jeremy.
And today we're going to be talking about the strength of the spoon, the strength of the golden spoon. So we can talk about a couple of things here. It is, one, the strength of your spoons and your stamina for the day, and how hardy your spoons are if you ate your Wheaties that morning, or
your personal spoons.
Yeah, your personal spoons. And then the strength of the golden spoons in your life, the strength of your friends as people you call golden spoons, and how strong they are, how full-willed your friends are, for you, and how strong you are for them. So we're going to dive right into that. So when you think about, what do you want to talk about, the friends or your own spoons?
Let's do your own spoons first.
Your own spoons. All right, cool. So we, of course, if you're listening to this episode first, this is your first ever episode of the Golden Spoon Podcast. Hi, welcome. You should probably listen to episode 1, season 1.
Yeah. So you're understanding what
these spoons
that
are,
we're even talking about,
and why the podcast is named that. But if you're regular around here, hi, welcome. Thank you for tuning back in. So your own spoons, how strong do those spoons actually last, and things like that? So my spoons, I would say, in a regular work day, are pretty strong. Now, there are those days, of course, where you dig spoons from the next day because there's just so much crapola going on in your life, and it's very taxing. But, your spoons are as strong as you are. So if you're burning through those spoons because you're allowing it to be that way, then something in your life needs to change. Something is not performing well. There's a storming going on, and so you're not performing well. So the storm is brewing, and you're not being able to do those tasks. Why are we focused on how strong our spoons are? What would you think, Jeremy?
I was just about to say, is that a question for me or is that a question for you?
It's a question also for our viewers.
We're focused so much on your spoons, your personal ones, because you can't be a spoon for someone else unless you figure out your own spoons on the daily basis. And a good way of doing that, if you're new to this theory of spoons,
we're
break it down.
We're reintroducing spoon theory again.
We're going a little further than what we did on episode 1. Break down your spoons. Like it's all like just imaginary numbers. So you can give yourself however many that you need, but you need to stick with that every single day, and you have to portion each part of your activity or schedule per each spoon. So if you're spending a lot of energy, like say you just do 10, kind of like how we explained in the first episode.
That's usually where I sit, is around a good solid 10.
If you do like getting up, getting your stuff ready for work, taking a shower, driving to work, all that before you clock in, and then like that's one spoon. If you're getting to the end of the day, or like at 3 o'clock, and you're noticing you're like, dang, I'm out of spoons, and I'm like, feels like I'm out of energy, and I'm just having to push through just to make it, and you're pulling spoons from your next day mentally. Yes, if you don't understand what we're talking about, again, go back to episode 1. Then go back, at the end of that day, sit down. Hopefully you got enough spoon left to sit down and do this. Break down what went wrong. And why did why was it at 3 o'clock? I was already on my 10th spoon. Was there something that happened unexpectedly at work that don't normally happen? And is it justified is the reason that I'm at, my 10th spoon?
Right. Was Becky being a bee in the office,
Yeah. Or is it that I've noticed that I'm using way too many spoons on just getting ready for work and doing this and doing that. And I'm not saying just like to mentally try to, just rearrange and, tell yourself and fake it till you make it. Look more into like that daily routine. Like, okay, I've noticed that it's taking me 3 spoons for my daily routine or my morning routine just before I get into work. What can I do in my morning to make it a little bit more manageable and a little bit stressless? Can I take a shower the night before, or can I pack my lunch the night before? So when I'm waking up at that same time, I'm not stressing out having to get everything ready at once. Or, I notice that I'm having to get gas a lot in the morning times. Maybe try to get gas the night before on your way home from work. It's not that you're, faking one of your spoons or overlooking your spoon. You're just rearranging your daily task in a better way, so when you the goal is to get to the end of the day and be using your 10th spoon getting ready for bed.
Yeah,
rather than pulling in from your next day.
That is the true goal. We talked last episode on New Year's resolutions and everything, and if this is something that you've been struggling with and you want to take January as your rearranging spoons month and getting that in line,
that's good.
Go ahead and make that your priority of getting those things in line to understand, hey, spoon 5 through 7 is this time of the day, and I'm using spoon 9, 10 at this point of the day, and I get home and I still have to do all these things and it's not working out. That's where that little storm is coming from. So you're not performing, you're storming at that point. So get to a place where you can see, this is wrong, this is the good, this is the bad, this is the okay, this is where I'm using my energy and I don't need to, this is where I'm using my energy and I'm performing right there. There's the sweet spot. And you could be any profession and use the spoon theory. You could be in any field and use the spoon theory. It's pretty simple to think about. So if you are new here and you're like, what the hell are they talking about? Yeah. They're talking about spoons.
These guys are crazy.
These guys are imaginary spoons in the sky. What?
Yeah.
And they're gold?
Going back to that, not the imaginary part, but if you're having problems just, first coming into this and being like, okay, how, even if you listen to episode 1 and you're still like, I don't understand how to apply spoons to my day. The best way, like I try to do it, is find your triggers throughout your day. And that's what's using your spoons. So if you're, by the time you get to your car and you're on your way to work and you're already having to take a deep breath and be like, all right, I got this, then obviously you used a couple spoons getting ready. Or if someone, like he said, if someone was a bee to you in the office and really ticked you off, then that was a spoon that you had to use more mental effort to, turn the other cheek, to walk away, to gather your thoughts and center yourself so you can continue your actual work and get everything done productively. And that's like an unexpected spoon that you had to use. and that's how I break it down, is things that mentally wear me out or get me into like a foggy state of mind where I'm having to center myself back in. That's when a spoon has been used. When I'm having, when I get to a point where I've lost my train of thought, I don't know what I'm doing, I'm having to, do some breathing techniques, whether it's for anxiety, stress, or just being just lost in the moment of not understanding something.
Yeah, disorientation.
It's something that's out of your norm. Then you're having, there's some things that are just basically muscle memory. A lot of people probably do them at work, certain type of paperwork or doing a physical activity or whatever.
Or logs on the computer.
Yeah, it's literally like you can do them in your sleep and do it in your eyes closed. So you're not really utilizing a spoon for that. But if you're doing that muscle memory job or whatever for 2 hours consecutively, your body's still going to get wore out. So for those 2 hours, that would also be like one spoon. So, you got like one spoon getting ready for work because you have to use mental thought process for first thing in the morning. You're having to get your brain fired up and going. You're having to, make sure you got your kids ready, make sure you got your lunch packed or you got, money for lunch, make sure you got gas in the car, make sure you get to work on time so you don't clock in late and get a point against you or, miss that time for pay or something. Those are all things that you've had to put mental effort into. So that's a spoon used. And then you work from 8 to 10 o'clock, just doing muscle memory stuff that you don't really have to utilize much brain power for. But at the end of those 2 hours, boom, there's another spoon. Someone comes and throws you out of whack during your lunch break, gives you some bad news or whatever. You had to use a spoon. It's unexpected for that day. Yeah.
Pulls you back in off your lunch break and takes you away from your lunch. Yeah.
And then, bad day at work, you going home, you have a flat tire, obviously, spoon use, those are unexpected spoons and stuff. So you got to think of it more of just when you get at the end of your day and think back, okay, where were the things that went wrong in the day? What were the triggers? If I get faced with that same thing tomorrow, what can I do better to handle the situation so you can stretch that spoon out longer rather than having to use up one spoon in 5 minutes because someone about pushed you to the edge? You can go, if you've been through therapy, and if you haven't, I recommend going to therapy so you could utilize certain techniques to quickly calm yourself down so you're not burning so much energy and burning an entire spoon for someone who just came and took it away from you. For something that, that just pissed you off. You can just, go through it and be like, okay, I'm fine, and then go back to work with it. And you don't have to, you're not calling somebody on the way home from work trying to, get everything off your chest because someone pissed you off at work. You're able to handle it mentally. Yeah, I mean, you still need to talk about it. I'm not saying, but there's sometimes in some instances, like you have to like talk to someone or you're going to like, crash your car into another person's car or something like that. So, it's the ultimate goal is to try to not to get that way.
Right.
It's to try to get through even the hard days and still ending up with all your spoons, even if you've used them sooner on those unexpected times and it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon or whatever, and you're at your 10th spoon, that's fine as long as you're not pulling that next spoon for the next day. You may just be sitting on the couch, kind of brain dead, watching TV until 10 o'clock that night and you go to bed. Hey, you didn't use a spoon to sit and watch TV for for 6 hours. I mean, you can just relax for the rest of that day.
Pop that melatonin in at 10 o'clock. And
that's another thing too. When people get to their 10th spoon that late in the day, realize that. And I have that problem myself. It's like, I think I have to. Yeah, I have
for not digging.
Yeah.
For not reaching.
And focus on not reaching any further. Because I feel like I'll be on the way home from work and have a really bad day. And I can feel it. I'm drained mentally. Like all I want to do is just go home, sit in the shower for a little bit, and just like lay in bed and stare at the ceiling. Like not even like look at my phone because that'll like take too much mental thought process. And try to understand where you are mentally and be like, hey, it's okay not to be okay. I don't have to be a superhero for the rest of the day.
You're right.
And if you have kids, I understand that you do have to take care of them, but you don't have to superhero that for the evening. You don't have to do 2 loads of laundry, cook dinner, wash the dishes, fold all their clothes, and lay them out for the next day. Swing by McDonald's, grab them some chicken nuggets,
Hey, you can be
put
a
on some
superhero.
YouTube for them, and go and relax for 4 hours.
I mean, that could be.
you don't have to stress yourself.
That could still be a superhero moment, right?
Yeah,
there, too.
yeah, it
like,
is.
You don't even have to, because you could have been cooking the entire week, and it's that Friday or that Thursday before the Friday, and you swing by McDonald's and you've been cooking all week. That's they'll probably be like, heck yeah, we're getting some fast food.
And we're not being promoted by McDonald's. It's just the first thing that came to mind. I mean, matter of fact, don't get your kid McDonald's. It's not really that healthy.
Go to freaking Firehouse
Maybe go,
Subs.
yeah.
Oof.
Or cook them some ramen noodles.
That yeah.
Crack an egg in that thing, microwave it in the microwave.
That's me. You're right there.
And just be done with it. And once again, I understand there's still toddlers and infants that you constantly have to take care of, but still, you can take a break in those areas too. Because I know there's those mom and dads out there that still think that they have to take the trash out, on top of, giving the infant milk or changing the diaper, and then doing the load of laundry and taking care of the older kid and doing, just do the bare minimum for that day. I'm not saying procrastinate for the rest of the week, but realize that you're at your 10th spoon. Understand that, you've made it this far through the day, and that you're allowed not to do anything for the rest of the day. Just do the bare minimum to take care of yourself or to take care of your kids. Swallow the pill for the day, wake up tomorrow in a better attitude and with a full 10 spoons rather than having to rob 3 just to think that you got to have a spotless house before you go to bed that night or something.
That is you're probably everybody who's listening is probably like, you mean I can do that?
Yeah.
Like, they're probably thinking like, I can kind of get by and do some of those things.
Because no one's going to tell on you. No one's going to pop in at 9 o'clock at night to inspect your house and make sure you got all your kids' clothes folded and the dishes are washed and the floor swept and everything's perfectly fine. Like, do it the next day. Yeah, you might be working a little harder the next day, or break it down over the next 3 days so you're not working yourself to death.
Right.
But on the days that you've used your spoons up, quit grabbing the ones from the next day, because you're going to run out of them by the end of the week. And then you're going to wake up on Friday trying to go to work, and you're like, oh man, happy Friday. But you're at spoon 0 at 8 o'clock in the morning driving to work.
Yeah.
And you're just literally trying to make it through the day on what everyone else is thinking is the happiest day of the week because they get to have the weekend. And you're still thinking to yourself, I can't wait to get home and, see my kids or something and just sit and do nothing. I mean, if you space your spoons out through the week, then you have time and energy to enjoy that Friday.
You have to. I was going to ask you how your spoons were, and I was going to give you a little story of when my spoons last week were not great.
I'm about negative 14 on my spoons right now for this week.
Now?
I'm just kidding.
I'm pretty good right now.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm having to do double time at my job this week, so I'm definitely utilizing some brain power. I mean, I thought even on the way home from work, I'm just like, I just don't know if I can do tonight. I don't know if I can mentally stay focused enough to do a podcast. But I knew that once I got home, I took a shower, got some food in my belly.
Also, I didn't show up on time.
Oh, no, that all worked out, I took a break. Like, I didn't come home and try to, get some stuff done for the house, sometimes like I normally do before McCall comes over. Came home,
good.
Did the bare minimum for myself, washed my body, ate some dinner, let McCall know it's time to come over, and then I was good and recharged enough to put in a couple hours of podcasting. And that's what you have to do.
Yeah. Last week I was and my job, I deliver flowers. So last week I had 20 deliveries to make, which doesn't give me fear at all. I can usually make about 25 deliveries pretty well if they're in the same area. but I had to drive to Trussville for 2 of them and a couple of other places, so they were pretty spaced out. But the thing that wore my spoons out were the people's driveways. Like, I'm, driving a 15-foot delivery van, and it's pretty wide, and these are made for, like, narrow Mercedes-Benz and things like that, and Audis and small little cars, and I'm like, oh, God, please, I hope I can make it up there and there's a spot to turn around and drive back down, because some of those driveways in the neighborhoods that are delivering to are just not even made for a delivery van.
That shouldn't even be driveways. I know what you mean. I've drove on some of them. I got a tiny car though, so sometimes it's easier to put it in reverse and go down. Yeah. But I can only imagine in a delivery van.
Yeah, the delivery van, I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh man, this is going to be a fun day. And I had to hit 20 spots like that. And I was like, didn't get done until like 4:07 and made it back to the shop at like 4:40. And I was like, well, it's already past close. I was like, yeah, we got it.
Time to go home and get ready for tomorrow.
Yeah. Oh man, but yeah, I burned through some spoons last Friday. I was like, and Saturday, I took a nap, and like a majority of the day, I was burnt. Like that day had just like fully burnt my spoons, and I wasn't gonna reach into Saturday spoons. I was just gonna get to spoon 10, and then the rest of the day, Friday, whenever I made it home, I was stagnant. I was just not doing, too many large tasks or anything like that. Made it into Saturday, and I was like, all right, now it's time to recharge the spoon.
I nap Saturday, too. I find myself napping on the weekends now. Never been much of a napper, but I'm getting into that.
Oh, man, napping is phenomenal, especially around like 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
After a good hefty lunch.
Oh, yeah.
Good belly full.
You just want to go right
to sleep. Wrap up in the covers and go to bed.
That's something you can do for yourself out there. If you want to give yourself a little reward on the weekends, is hey, everybody, it's nap time. Let's go take a nap.
And if you got kids, sleep when they sleep. That's the motto. It don't matter what time of the day it is. If they pass out for a nap, especially toddlers and infants, go in there to that bed and you take a nap too. Set you an alarm for about 30 minutes and wake up before they do. That's what I did when my kids were younger. You got to sleep when they sleep, because they might be up till like 3 a.m. that night. You don't ever know.
Yeah, you never know.
You got to be prepared.
So we're going to move on to the next topic. So with strength of the spoon, you also, look at your friends, because the reason the podcast is the Golden Spoon Podcast is the people in your life. Those are your golden spoons. Those ones that are really strong, tough. You can reach for, that are like physically like right here. If you're watching on YouTube, you saw what I just did to Jeremy. So
he touched me.
But yeah.
I made that really uncomfortable for the people not watching on YouTube.
I know, they're like, he touched me.
He touched me.
But you have to look at those people. Now there's a whole exercise that I haven't done yet, but should probably do. But it's a circle diagram. So you draw yourself in the middle, in the smallest circle, and you draw a circle around you, and you put those names that you have that are like golden spoons, and then you work your way out, and those other people around. So the third layer, those are people that are kind of on the outside that know things but don't really know everything. And then you draw a bigger circle and you put those other people on the outskirts, and you can kind of see who your golden spoons are, who are right there around you, and you can kind of see the people that are further away from you and further away from you, but still have a relationship with, but not as trusted, or you don't want to divulge too much information to, or things like that. So you get to look at these.
You don't want to tell them your dirty laundry.
Yeah, I mean, some people just let their dirty laundry go, but other people, they're locked tight.
Mm-hmm.
They're like a storage unit with everything in and a good old padlock on it.
Those are the ones you got to look out for.
What, people who keep it locked down?
Yeah, who don't ever open up.
You could have to look out for those people.
The ones who just don't ever tell the truth.
Oof.
And they're just...
Those are people you put on the far outside of the circle.
Yeah.
If you have those people.
They constantly say that they're doing things that's good for them. But like you can tell by the way they act that things are not going well. And you're not trying to overstep boundaries, but you're still just trying to make sure that they know that you're there. And you just got to just keep an eye on them. Sometimes you just got to let them do their thing, figure out their own journey. And hopefully they come back to their senses.
Oof. You in the dirt right now. You in the dirges. You in the.
Yep.
But this is also a good time for you as well to look at how strong you are as a golden spoon to somebody else, and get to focus on those qualities that somebody would want as a golden spoon. Like, hey, I am that to that person because that's who I am. It's not something that I've... If you're watching on YouTube, you just saw Jeremy
found something on my finger that was unpleasant.
It's like, huh.
Really, it was something on the couch that was unpleasant.
Fantastic.
Anyway, the spoons.
But you get to look at yourself and see, I am that quality of a person because it's not something I made up in my mind that I am. I am that person. I am these good qualities. I am those things for that person. That's why I am somebody else's golden spoon. How do you feel about that? You feel...
It was delicious.
You took that whole bite full.
I took the whole spoonful.
Yeah.
Just slurped it up. I agree fully with you. You have to keep yourself prepared and available, because you don't know when someone's gonna need you.
You're right.
I'm not saying
they could come back.
You just gotta I'm not saying you gotta sit there and on a bed and constantly be in paranoia about someone calling that they need help or something. You just gotta know, like, hey, someone might need me. They are really close to the edge.
I know, that scared me.
Sorry, we're watching a YouTube video. But you just, yeah, I mean, they should be a fence right there.
They
might call at any minute saying they need help.
Yeah.
Being on the side of a cliff. But you need to always be in a good position mentally, preferably physically. Not saying you should always, no, I'm not saying you should always be drunk all the time or something, because obviously you can't help anybody.
Nah, he wants my physique just to be top tier.
You need to be in top tip shape in order to help someone.
I'm sorry.
No, you just need to be able to answer the phone.
I give good hugs, bro. That's why I'm warm and cuddly.
Yeah. Or be able to open the door when someone needs your help. Open the door, sit them down, make a cup of tea, or pour a glass of tea. Whether you like it cold or hot, it don't matter.
Make them a cup of coffee.
Make a cup of coffee, yeah. Smoke a cigar, sit down with them, let them know that you've had times where you weren't all right. And you pulled through, and you've made it, you've managed it, and you can explain to them your personal spoons and how and how you've dealt with your day. You don't have to try to explain spoon theory to them. You can put it in activities and tasks and everything, and let them know.
Somebody do tasks.
Yeah, and you let them know how you've managed your day, even under the stress that they're in that situation. You're like, hey, I wasn't specifically dealing with the problems you're dealing with, but I remember when I was going through this certain circumstance, but I was able to, apply this amount of energy to each parts of my day, and that circumstance, finally reconciled itself, and I'm doing a lot better now. And that gives them more hope to keep pushing on. And that's how you're keeping yourself good for your other spoons, because
you're self-checking.
Yeah, self-checking.
I mean, you're doing those due diligences for yourself and others at that point when you're checking in on yourself and checking in on others.
I was honestly trying to think of what we named this episode.
Strength of the spoon.
Strength of the spoon. That's what I was going to wrap it up with. I was going to be like, and then that's how you come together and you strengthen your spoon.
Hey,
that's why
that's why we're here, bro.
Yeah, that's how it's done. That's how.
I mean, that was you'll get plenty of these over, all over all seasons and episodes, but that was a little golden spoon moment right there.
Yeah, it was. That was where my golden spoon fell, and McCall picked it up.
There you go.
And finished the sentence.
It was like, dude, there we go.
But what we're basically saying is definitely keeping yourself in check, watching your own spoons, and that coincides with being available for other spoons. And that's strengthening, like McCall said, that circle that you're in the center of. So all your spoons have to be healthy. And then you keep your spoons that's on your immediate outside of your circle. You make sure that they're good and their spoons are going well every day. And then that spreads out to the next circle and beyond.
Yeah, you're
It's like a strengthened spooned circle.
If you're subscribed to the Patreon, I always say the Spoon Army, the Golden Spoon Army.
Yeah,
you're checking your little army there.
Go become a part of the army and subscribe to the Patreon. You won't regret it.
Oh, you definitely won't. I mean, just the things that go on the Patreon, you'll definitely appreciate being subscribed and listening in on those little conversations that we have. Oh God, they get dicey. They get good and dicey. It's like we serving you up some Mrs. Buttersworth or something.
Mrs. Buttersworth. God, I miss her.
Well, with that, I think you get the gist of this episode. I hope you do. If you need more, comment and say, hey, I want to understand more, and this is what I want to understand, and we'll do an episode on it. So thank you for listening to The Golden Spoon. I am McCall.
And I'm Jeremy.
And we'll dig a little deeper next time.